One of the reasons I jumped over here, you were talking about the intersection between ecological, I guess you could either say destruction or thriving.
Let me make it clear. We call it the triple bottom line. In the world, in the corporate world, the triple bottom line essentially means people, planet, and profit. We need to balance financial performance with social performance and ecological performance. We have to have economic solutions with equity and not forgetting about the economy. And this is known as the triple bottom line. Again, people, planet, and profit is a good way to
the three Ps.
To think about it.
Yeah.
All three need to work, and whatever solutions need to work for those three.
Yeah, absolutely.
Forces.
I was going to ask if you could speak a little bit. When a lot of people think about environmental issues, environmental movement, they kind of juxtapose as a complete opposite job creation.
Right.
Can you talk about how the two actually don't have to be in contradiction with one another, but can actually be?
Yes, I'd like to speak about that. There is a fear on behalf, particularly of conservatives, to acknowledge, talk about, or seek any solutions around climate change. The problem is that they don't really have a problem with the science. They have a problem with the solutions. Mm-hmm. They are, until they are disabused of the myth that any solutions must result in bigger government, taking away our freedoms, killing the economy, and making us poor, because those are the fears, we're not going to get anywhere. And the reality is there is a solution that would help the economy. It would put people to work. It's been economically modeled to create 2.8 million jobs. We're talking about a carbon fee and dividend, which is put forth by Citizens Climate Lobby. And there are many other groups that are calling for a revenue-neutral carbon tax or fee. We like to call it a fee because, well, two reasons. The T word freaks people out. And number two, you shouldn't call it a tax if the government doesn't keep it. And the carbon fee and dividend is a 100% refund back to American citizens to protect us from increasing prices. So it's a fee, a dividend, and a border adjustment we won't get into at this venue now. A little too wonky for our situation at the moment. But there is a solution that would create jobs, promote American ingenuity and competition, put America to work, save 13,000 lives. It is a small government, fiscally conservative, market-based solution. That's should be music to the ears of any principled conservative, and it also would draw down emissions faster than any policy that you have ever heard of, certainly faster than any regulation. And I'm not saying we don't need certain protections, but in fact, if there's a market-based solution that would blow past certain regulations or protections, wouldn't you be for that?
Yeah.
Right?
So, absolutely. One last thing before it gets too loud again.
Yeah.
You were talking before about a bipartisan commission.
Yes, a caucus.
A caucus. You want to explain a little bit about what's going on there?
One of the things CCL, Citizens Climate Lobby, does is our motto is bridging the partisan divide on climate. We meet with Republicans and Democrats regularly on Capitol Hill and in district offices. We form relationships with them. When you know who your representative is, that's a good thing. But when they know your name, that's a better thing. And what has happened is a bipartisan climate solutions caucus, a working group of both Democrats and Republicans. Most people don't know this has happened. It's not in the headlines. This was created February last year with Carlos Curbelo, who was at the time a freshman Republican, and a Democrat, Ted Deutsch, out of West Palm Beach. When this formed with 1 and 1, Bloomberg News called it the caucus to save the world. New York Times called it a surprising step towards sanity. It grew to 2 and 2 and 3 and 3. Up until the election, it was 10 and 10, and then it was a bit disrupted. One person retired, people were voted out. It was 6 and 9. It just weeks after the election grew back to 10 and 10, 12 and 12. As of last count, just a couple of days ago, it's up to 19 Republicans, 19 Democrats coming to the table in a toxic-free environment to talk about economically viable solutions to the climate crisis. Mm-hmm. And this is amazing. Most people don't know this is happening, that there is, in fact, while we read the headlines and we're rightfully very upset by the disturbing news, a lot of the headlines underscore and highlight the controversy, and a lot of it is serious. But what is not on the headlines is the huge amount of momentum in Capitol Hill, in Congress particularly, among Republicans who are moving the needle, who are bucking their party, manning up and womaning up in some cases, and summoning the leadership and courage required to actually lead. And that's what we need. And that is what happens when enough people are able to develop their own personal and political power And that's something we do at citizensclimatelobby.org. We're 60,000 volunteer members, 400 chapters as of last count. We're worldwide, but mostly North America. Big Canadian footprint. And we were very helpful in creating and promoting this caucus.
All right, thank you, Greg.